What separates the person who merely exists from the one who leads, who truly leads the field in life? What separates the person who merely exists from the one who leads, who truly leads the field in life? It is not talent. It is not luck. It is not circumstance. It is thought. For we become what we think about. This is the great secret, not hidden in the stars, not buried in the oceans, but residing silently in the one place we often neglect, our own minds. The mind is like fertile soil. It does not care what you plant, success or failure, a concrete dream or a fearful doubt. It will return what you sow, multiplied. The weeds will grow just as quickly as the wheat if you are not watchful. But the gardener, the leader, knows this and chooses wisely what to plant. The one who leads the field does not wait for permission. They do not seek the crowd's approval. They understand this, that success is not a point to reach but a direction to walk, a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. They decide clearly and completely where they are going, because people with goals succeed for one simple reason: they know where they are going. Imagine a ship at sea. One ship has a captain, a crew, a map, and a destination. The other is adrift, without aim. 10,000 voyages later, only one will reach its port. The difference is vision. So too in life, your direction is determined by your decision, not by the wind, but by the set of your sails. The person who leads the field refuses to live by accident. They live by design. They understand that their attitude, not their age, not their background, not their education, determines their altitude. They carry within them a calm certainty, a steady confidence that life will respond to the thoughts they plant and the service they give. You see, the world pays you in direct proportion to the value you bring it, not in talk, but in effort, not in appearance, but in service. If you want to receive more, become more. The leader in the field does not concern themselves with competition. They are too busy creating. They have no interest in comparisons. They are too focused on growth. They have discovered that they alone are responsible for their future, and in that responsibility lies their greatest freedom. Where others see fear, the leader sees imagination misused. Where others wait, the leader acts. Where others drift, the leader drives forward, guided by a clear picture of who they are becoming. They do not fear failure, for they know that even failure carries within it the seed of learning, and no effort made with purpose is ever truly lost. Their success is not loud. It is not flashy. It is quiet, like the steady beat of a drum. It is formed in habits, in thought, in how they carry themselves when no one is watching. The field is open to all, but the leader is rare. Because to lead the field, one must first master themselves. One must wake up each day with purpose, speak with intention, work with diligence, and above all, think with clarity. Your environment is a reflection of your inner world. Change your thoughts and your world will follow. And so the question is simple. What will you plant? Will you choose fear or will you choose vision? Will you scatter your energy or will you concentrate it on a worthy purpose? Will you follow the crowd or will you lead the field? The decision is yours. It always has been. This idea is perhaps the most powerful and misunderstood truth in human experience. It suggests that a person's dominant thoughts, the thoughts they hold in their mind consistently, day in and day out, shape their reality, their future, and ultimately their identity. If an individual spends their days thinking of fear, doubt, and limitation, they inevitably walk the path those thoughts create. On the other hand, if their thoughts are focused on possibility, growth, service, and achievement, they move steadily in that direction. The mind cannot hold a persistent image without beginning to act in accordance with it, just as a seed, when planted, draws from the earth everything necessary to produce its fruit. So too the thoughts we nourish in our minds gather around them the conditions and actions necessary for their fulfillment. This is not magic, it is cause and effect. The dominant mental picture becomes a blueprint. The subconscious begins to build. And so, whether we are aware of it or not, we are always becoming the product of our inner thinking. The mind does not discriminate between good or bad, right or wrong. It simply reflects what it is given. Like soil, it grows what is planted. The tragedy is that most people plant weeds of worry, fear, and smallness, then wonder why their lives do not bloom. But the person who understands that they become what they think about takes the reins of life. They choose their thoughts as carefully as a farmer selects seeds, knowing that their harvest depends on it. Success is not a destination, but a progressive realization of a worthy ideal, is a truth that reshapes how one views achievement. Many people falsely believe success is something to be attained. A certain job, a specific income, a house, or a title. But true success is not a fixed point on a map. It is the direction in which one is moving. The moment a person deliberately chooses a meaningful goal and begins to work toward it, they are successful. They may not have reached the goal yet, but the very act of progressing towards something worthwhile, something that aligns with their values, vision, and potential, is the essence of success. A student who aims to become a doctor and studies each day with discipline is successful, even if the degree is years away. A parent striving to raise their children with love and wisdom is successful, even if every day presents challenges. Success is not measured by comparison to others, but by how closely one is following their own worthy ideal. That ideal must be worthy, not superficial or borrowed from someone else's idea of importance. It must be personal, deeply felt, and honest. When a person selects such an ideal and organizes their thoughts, energy, and actions around its pursuit, they live with clarity, strength, and purpose. The path may be long and results may come slowly, but the sense of direction and meaning becomes its own reward. The failure is not in falling short, but in having no ideal at all, or in drifting aimlessly without intention. You are the captain of your soul, and the master of your fate expresses the profound truth that each individual holds the power to steer the course of their own life. Though circumstances may be challenging and the seas of life unpredictable, the direction of the ship, your mind, your choices, your responses, remains under your control. This statement calls forth the idea of personal responsibility, reminding us that we are not helpless passengers tossed by external forces, but the active force behind our own journey. The mind, like a ship's helm, can be guided by clear intention or left to drift if abandoned. The one who accepts this truth does not blame others, the past or luck, for their position in life. They understand that while they may not control every event that occurs, they control how they interpret it, how they respond to it, and what they become because of it. Fate is not some random, uncontrollable force. It is largely shaped by the decisions made in thought and action. The soul, your inner life, your character, your imagination, is not bound by external limits unless you surrender it. When a person embraces this role of captain and master, they no longer wait for life to happen but begin to create it, to guide it, and to shape it according to a higher vision. Every decision, every habit, every thought becomes a tool in their hands, building the future one step at a time. The human mind is like fertile soil. It grows whatever you plant. This means that the mind, by its very nature, does not judge or filter what is placed into it. It simply accepts and nurtures the seeds given to it through repeated thought. If you plant seeds of worry, doubt, fear, or resentment, the mind will cultivate those, and soon your life will reflect anxiety, insecurity, and limitation. On the other hand, if you deliberately plant thoughts of courage, gratitude, confidence, and possibility, those too will take root and begin to shape your actions, your mood, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. The soil does not care whether the seed is useful or harmful. It only responds to the planting. In the same way, the subconscious mind does not argue. It accepts what it is consistently told and then begins to operate in harmony with that thought. People often fill their minds with negative, destructive thoughts and then wonder why life yields bitterness, stagnation, or regret. They fail to realize that their outer world is a reflection of the inner seeds they've nurtured over time. The person who understands this principle guards their mental garden with great care. They avoid planting weeds. They become intentional about the thoughts they entertain, knowing each thought has the potential to grow into action and habit. The mind will always produce a harvest. The only question is what kind of seed was sown. Attitude determines altitude. This phrase reveals the quiet but powerful force that shapes every aspect of a person's life. Attitude is not simply mood or temporary emotion. It is the settled mental posture with which you approach people, challenges, and circumstances. Two individuals may face the same situation, but their outcomes can be completely different because one sees it as an obstacle while the other sees it as an opportunity. The difference lies in attitude. It acts as the filter through which everything is interpreted and responded to. A positive, confident, and constructive attitude tends to elevate a person, drawing others to them, opening doors, and influencing outcomes. A negative, fearful, or cynical attitude pulls a person down, even when conditions are favorable. Attitude also influences effort. Those with a strong, optimistic attitude persist longer, work harder, and recover quicker from setbacks. It affects relationships because people naturally respond to the energy we project. Attitude also determines how far one can rise, not only in career or social standing, but in peace of mind, growth, and satisfaction. Just as an airplane climbs when the nose is tilted upward, a life rises when the attitude is set high. When a person chooses their attitude deliberately each day, they are choosing their direction. Even in adversity, they remain in command of how they see and respond to the world, and that power often makes the difference between being grounded by doubt or soaring toward potential. The greatest secret is that you have control over your thoughts. This truth is simple, yet it holds the key to transformation in every area of life. Most people go through their days reacting to circumstances, to other people, to the environment, without realizing that behind every reaction is a thought, and that thought can be chosen. The mind is not a wild force beyond control. It can be directed, shaped, and disciplined like any muscle. The power to control thought means the power to shape belief, influence emotion, and guide behavior. It means you are not at the mercy of fear, worry, or anger unless you allow those thoughts to take root and grow. This control is not about denying reality, but about choosing how you interpret and respond to reality. It is the realization that even if you cannot change what happens around you, you can always change what happens within you. By taking command of thought, you also take command of your direction, your energy, and your future. The moment you accept that your thinking is your responsibility and not a product of chance or conditioning, you begin to step into personal mastery. From that point on, circumstances may continue to rise and fall, but you remain steady because your inner world is no longer a reflection of the external, but a reflection of the deliberate choices you make with your mind. Goals give direction, purpose gives meaning. A life without goals is like a ship without a rudder. It may drift, it may move, but it will never arrive anywhere with intention. Goals act as guiding stars, helping to organize thought, energy, and effort toward a clear destination. They turn vague desires into measurable steps and give the mind something to focus on beyond the distractions of the moment. But goals alone, while necessary, are not enough. Purpose gives those goals meaning. Purpose is the deeper reason behind the goal, the why that fuels the what. Without purpose, even a goal achieved can feel hollow. A person may reach a milestone, yet feel unfulfilled if that goal wasn't tied to something personally significant. Purpose adds depth to ambition. It transforms achievement into contribution. When a person sets goals rooted in purpose, their actions carry a different weight. Obstacles become challenges rather than barriers, and setbacks become part of the journey rather than signals to quit. Purpose turns effort into devotion, and goals into mission. Together, direction and meaning form a powerful union. One keeps you moving forward, the other keeps you moving with heart. When these two forces are aligned, life becomes not just a percent of results, but a journey filled with clarity, resilience, and fulfillment. People with goals succeed because they know where they are going. The act of setting a goal is a declaration of intention. It's a decision to chart a course and follow it, no matter how long it may take or how difficult the path may seem. Without goals, people are like travelers with no map or destination, wandering aimlessly through life, reacting to circumstances instead of proactively shaping their future. Having a clear goal provides the focus necessary to move forward with purpose. It turns abstract desires into concrete plans, transforming vague wishes into actionable steps. People who set goals are able to organize their time, energy, and resources toward a specific outcome, which brings a sense of control and determination. Their days are guided by a plan, and they know exactly what they are working toward. This clarity reduces confusion, minimizes distractions, and helps them overcome obstacles that would otherwise derail them. In the absence of goals, it's easy to lose momentum or to be swayed by external pressure. But those with goals develop a sense of resilience and self-discipline because they know every action is bringing them closer to their vision. Success in this sense isn't necessarily about immediate results. It's about staying on course and consistently moving toward the vision you've set. You can change your life by changing your beliefs. Beliefs are the invisible forces that shape the way we experience the world. They act as filters through which every event and interaction is interpreted. These beliefs are not always based on facts. Often they are built upon past experiences, societal conditioning, or even assumptions that have never been questioned. Yet they have a profound impact on actions, behavior, and outcome. A person who believes they are capable of success will make decisions, take actions, and move through life with confidence, while someone who believes they are destined to fail may avoid opportunities, limit their potential, and never fully step into their abilities. Changing a belief is not about simply thinking positively or wishing for things to be different. It is about rewiring the mind to accept a new perspective. When you change your beliefs, you change the lens through which you view the world, and this shifts everything. The same circumstances that once seemed daunting may now appear as opportunities for growth. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable become stepping stones toward greater strength. The key is not just to change surface-level thoughts, but to go deeper, to uncover the beliefs that shape those thoughts, and actively replace them with ones that empower you. As beliefs evolve, so too does the way a person acts and interacts with the world, eventually transforming their life in ways they never imagined possible. Don't compete. Create. Stand out by being your best self. The idea here is to shift the focus from comparing yourself to others to fully embracing your own unique potential. Competition often brings with it a mindset of limitation, the belief that for you to succeed, someone else must fail. It places you in a constant state of comparison, measuring your progress against others instead of evaluating your own growth. This not only breeds insecurity, but can also limit creativity and self-expression. On the other hand, when you choose to create rather than compete, you free yourself from those confines. You focus on offering something original, something only you can give. This mindset allows for a more abundant, expansive view of success. Instead of striving to outdo another person, you're focused on reaching new heights within yourself, continually evolving and pushing the boundaries of your own capabilities. By creating, you become a true leader in your field, setting new standards rather than chasing after someone else. When you create, you are defining your own path and bringing forth something that has never existed before, a reflection of your personal vision and purpose. It's about taking what you have, what you know, and what you are capable of, and using it to carve a space that is entirely your own. The only limitations we have are the ones we accept. This statement speaks to the idea that much of what holds us back in life is not external forces, but our own beliefs about what is possible. We often impose limitations on ourselves based on past experiences, fears, or societal expectations, assuming that certain things are simply out of our reach. However, these limitations are not absolute truths, but perceptions, and they can be changed. When we accept a limitation, we effectively close the door to new possibilities and resign ourselves to a smaller version of life. The most successful people are those who refuse to accept limitations that are not rooted in reality. They challenge the status quo, redefine boundaries, and push past the obstacles that others see as insurmountable. They understand that limitations are often self-imposed, and by changing the way they think and act, they can overcome nearly any barrier. It's not the world that limits us, it's our thinking, our choices, and our willingness to step outside of our comfort zone. The moment we begin to question and reject the limitations we've accepted, we open ourselves up to greater achievements, new experiences, and untapped potential. Every successful person has, at some point, faced the same challenge: to either accept the limitations imposed by their circumstances or to rise above them and create their own path. Success requires sacrifice. This principle that achieving something meaningful often comes with a price. Success doesn't come easily, and it doesn't come without effort. To reach a higher level, whether in personal development, career, relationships, or any other area, you must be willing to let go of something, whether it's time, comfort, or even certain pleasures. People often look at successful individuals and see the rewards, the accolades, and the achievements, but fail to see the sacrifices that were made along the way. Every moment spent working toward a goal, every hour devoted to learning, every decision that prioritizes long-term fulfillment over short-term gratification is a sacrifice. It's the willingness to endure temporary discomfort, to forgo immediate pleasure, and to stay committed when the results aren't immediately visible. This doesn't mean sacrificing well-being or happiness, but rather prioritizing what truly matters and being willing to pay the price for it. Sacrifice often involves letting go of habits, environments, or people that no longer align with your goals. It may require investing in your education, pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, or making difficult choices that others may not understand. But it's through these sacrifices that growth happens, that new doors open, and the foundation for lasting success is built. When you understand that every achievement comes with a cost, you are more prepared to face the challenges ahead, and in the end, the rewards will be that much sweeter, because they will have been earned. The more you give, the more you receive. This truth taps into the fundamental law of reciprocity, which suggests that the more value you contribute to the world, the more value will return to you, often in ways you least expect. The act of giving, whether it's time, energy, knowledge, or love, creates a flow of positive energy that not only benefits others but enriches the giver as well. It's a mindset that transcends transactional thinking. Rather than expecting something in return for every action, you give freely, trusting that the universe operates on the principle of balance. Giving does not always have to be material. It can be a kind word, a helping hand, or support during a difficult time. When you give of yourself, you are essentially investing in the well-being of others, and in turn, this investment often leads to an abundance of opportunities, relationships, and experiences. The act of giving opens the channels for receiving. It shifts your focus from scarcity, from worrying about what you might lack, to abundance, where you understand that there is always more than enough to share. When you focus on giving without keeping score, you invite greater levels of success into your life. The return may not always come in the form of direct rewards, but it will always come in a way that enriches your life, whether it's through the growth you experience, the relationships you build, or the opportunities that arise. Giving enhances the sense of purpose, and as you offer more of your true self to others, the universe in turn mirrors that generosity back to you in unexpected and fulfilling ways. The best way to predict the future is to create it. This statement emphasizes that the future is not something that simply happens to us. It is something we actively shape through our thoughts, decisions, and actions today. Rather than waiting for circumstances to unfold or hoping that things will work out, this perspective calls for taking full responsibility for your future and being intentional about what you want to achieve. By focusing on what you can control, your goals, your mindset, and your habits, you set the course for the life you envision. Predicting the future is not a matter of guessing or hoping, but of planning and executing with purpose. The choices you make now, no matter how small, build the foundation for what comes next. If you want a life of success, you must start by creating the conditions for success today. This involves setting clear goals, cultivating the right mindset, and consistently taking action in the direction of those goals. The future is not predetermined, and it is not out of your control. It is the sum of the choices you make now, the work you put in, and the mindset you adopt. When you take control of your actions today, you essentially design your future with each step you take, and through this process, you move closer to the life you desire. What you think about, you bring about. This concept reveals the immense power of thought in shaping our reality. The thoughts we entertain on a consistent basis create the blueprint for what we attract into our lives. When we focus on positive outcomes, opportunities, and success, we begin to align ourselves with those very things. Our thoughts direct our actions, and our actions in turn shape our experiences. This doesn't mean that thinking about success guarantees it will manifest immediately, but it sets a course toward it. Thoughts influence behaviors, which create habits, and these habits lead to the results we experience. A person who constantly thinks about wealth, for instance, will start seeking out opportunities, learning about financial strategies, and putting themselves in situations where wealth can be created or received. Likewise, someone who focuses on negative thoughts like fear or failure will find that they attract more situations that reinforce those feelings. This principle operates on the idea that like attracts like. The energy we emit through our thoughts is matched by the circumstances we encounter. It's not just about thinking something into existence, but about using thought as a tool to guide intention and action in the direction of what we want to create. What we focus on expands, and by consciously directing our thoughts toward our goals and desires, we effectively invite those things into our lives. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. This statement challenges the conventional view of success as a final destination, a moment when you've made it. Instead, success is seen as an ongoing journey, where every step you take toward your goal brings you closer to fulfillment. It is not just about reaching a particular milestone or accumulating achievements. It is about continuously moving in the direction of something meaningful to you. When you choose a worthy ideal, a goal or purpose that resonates deeply with your values, you are successful the moment you start working toward it. This approach shifts the focus from external markers of success, such as money or status, to internal fulfillment, based on the progress you make along the way. The realization of this ideal is progressive, meaning it happens over time through consistent effort and growth. Success is not a fixed point, but a process. Those who understand this concept find fulfillment not only in the destination, but in the very act of pursuing something that aligns with their deeper purpose. Every day spent moving closer to that ideal is a day of success, regardless of how far you are from the end goal. This mindset encourages continual growth, learning, and improvement, knowing that each step forward brings you closer to becoming the person you are meant to be. We become what we think about. This profound truth reveals the foundational role that our thoughts play in shaping who we are and the life we live. Every action we take, every decision we make, and every experience we encounter is first born from a thought. Our minds are constantly generating thoughts, and the patterns of these thoughts determine our attitudes, behaviors, and ultimately our destiny. If you repeatedly think about growth, success, or self-improvement, your mind naturally begins to seek opportunities and create the conditions necessary to bring those thoughts to life. On the contrary, if your thoughts are filled with negativity, self-doubt, or fear, those mental patterns will reflect in your actions and perceptions, creating a life that mirrors those beliefs. The thoughts you entertain shape your self-image, your responses to challenges, and the goals you set for yourself. They influence your behavior, which then influences your results. The mind, much like a garden, will cultivate whatever is planted in it, whether positive or negative. The key to shaping your life lies in choosing the thoughts you allow to dominate your mind. When you consciously decide to focus on what you want rather than what you fear or don't want, you are effectively steering your life in that direction. You become the product of your most dominant thoughts, and by taking control of what you think about, you can begin to create a life that reflects the person you want to become. Your thoughts create your circumstances. This concept suggests that the way we think shapes the reality we experience. Our external world is a reflection of our inner world, meaning the beliefs, attitudes, and expectations we hold influence the events and outcomes we encounter. If a person constantly thinks about lack, scarcity, or fear, they may unknowingly start to make choices that perpetuate those feelings, creating circumstances that align with those negative thoughts. Conversely, when a person adopts a mindset of abundance, possibility, and confidence, they begin to perceive and act in ways that bring more of those qualities into their life. Our thoughts determine how we react to situations, whether we see challenges as opportunities or obstacles. Over time, these reactions and decisions lead to circumstances that mirror our internal beliefs. The power of thought lies in its ability to create a cycle. Thoughts shape actions, actions shape habits, habits shape outcomes, and outcomes reinforce the beliefs that originally led to those actions. If you want to change your circumstances, you must start by changing your thoughts. By consciously shifting your mindset and focusing on what you desire, you can start to change the way you interact with the world, which in turn changes the circumstances you encounter. Your thoughts are not just passive observations of the world, they actively shape it. The key to success is self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to control one's emotions, behaviors, and actions in the face of temptations and impulses, allowing a person to stay focused on long-term goals rather than short-term gratification. It is the practice of pushing oneself to take action, even when the immediate reward may not be visible. Success in any area of life requires consistent effort and the ability to make the right choices, even when it's difficult. Self-discipline is what keeps a person on course when distractions arise, when the initial excitement fades, or when challenges make it easier to give up. It is the ability to stay committed to a vision and work toward it, day in and day out, without letting immediate circumstances dictate behavior. Self-discipline also involves sacrifice, the willingness to say no to things that may be pleasurable or comfortable in the short term in order to achieve something greater in the future. It's about setting boundaries, creating routines, and maintaining a focus on your priorities no matter the obstacles. Those who master self-discipline are often the ones who achieve the most, because they are able to consistently take the necessary steps, stay on track, and persevere even when the going gets tough. Success doesn't come from occasional bursts of effort. It comes from maintaining the discipline to keep moving forward, regardless of how difficult the path may be. The secret to living is giving. This statement encapsulates the idea that true fulfillment and joy come not from accumulating wealth or status, but from sharing what we have with others. When we focus on giving, whether it's our time, resources, knowledge, or love, we tap into a deeper sense of purpose. Giving shifts our attention away from what we lack and instead toward how we can contribute to the well-being of others. It creates a sense of connection and strengthens relationships as we invest in the lives of those around us. The act of giving generates positive energy that benefits both the giver and the receiver. It brings a sense of satisfaction knowing that our actions have made a difference in someone else's life. Furthermore, giving often leads to receiving, not always in a material sense, but in the form of goodwill, opportunities, and personal growth. When you give freely and without expectation of return, you open yourself up to receiving blessings in ways you might not have anticipated. The practice of giving also cultivates gratitude, as it reminds us of the abundance we already have and helps us see the needs of others. In essence, the more we give, the more we enrich our own lives and the lives of those around us, creating a cycle of positivity and fulfillment. In conclusion, the journey toward success is deeply rooted in our mindset, actions, and the values we choose to embrace. By aligning our thoughts with our goals, developing self-discipline, embracing sacrifice, and cultivating a mindset of giving, we not only create the future we desire, but also enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. Success is not a destination, but a continuous, progressive realization of a worthy ideal. It is about staying true to our purpose, persistently working toward our vision, and most importantly, contributing to the world in meaningful ways. As you embark on your own path, remember that the power to shape your future lies in your hands. Stay committed, stay disciplined, and remember that the more you give, the more you receive. Good luck on your journey, and may you always find strength in your goals and fulfillment in your action. Thank you for your time and attention.